Good evening and welcome to The Views hosted by TVN24. I am Habib Rahman as usual with you. Tonight we are discussing an issue that affects millions of children and families across the United States, your family, my family, everybody's family, more or less around the world. Exactly. Autism spectrum disorder. The name sounds fancy, but we'll break it down. Although awareness has grown in recent years, autism remains widely misunderstood. We'll discuss why it remained misunderstood, and many parents struggle to separate facts from myths. The good news is that the research shows early identifications, evidence-based intervention, and strong family support can significantly improve a child's communications, learning, and quality of life. So, what exactly is autism? What are the early warning signs? And when should a parent seek professional help? What treatments are available? And how can schools and communities better support children on autism spectrum? Today, joining us, you and me, everybody today, is an experienced autism specialist who will answer these important questions that I raised in the beginning of the program and provide practical guidance for parents, for families. This is Autism. The right support can change a child's life. Please welcome Sherry Ann Chishti. She's a clinical director, CEO, Asend ABA P.C. She has a lot more to it, but I'm just cutting it short. Thank you for making time and coming to our studio.
Hi, everyone, and thank you. Assalamualaikum, everybody. Thank you for having me, and we are happy and excited to be part of this show. So, because this is an important topic that each of us should know, because this topic is not just for families of kids with autism, but since we are part of a bigger community, an American Bangladeshi community, New York City community, this is our responsibilities, not just responsibility of teachers or parents or professionals, but it's everybody's responsibilities.
All right, Sherry, thanks for introduction, and I as I said, this is a very important topic that we are going to cover today. We sometimes don't understand. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we understand, but we don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we know we need help, but we don't know where to go. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we don't understand the problem altogether, or sometimes we say this is just a normal behavior. Mm-hmm. You are going to break down all these things, as I said in the beginning, facts versus myths. Plus, at the end, we're going to see where you can go get some help.
Yes.
But let's start from the beginning so everybody's on the same page, right? What early signs, and I'm going to go to what it is, but what early signs in children's between the age of 18 and 36 months of age should prompt parents to seek an evaluation from a specialized as soon as possible?
Yes. So around 1 year old to 24 months, there are some signs that we should be aware as parents or as caregivers or as relatives to what should we look for. So a lot of our families, they see like, oh, my child was talking when they were 18 months or 2 years old, but they lost the language. So that's also one of the big red flag of autism. So sometimes they know their name, they respond, they play, and then later on they stop talking or they stop responding. So that's one of the early signs. And no eye contact, sensory sensitivities. So sometimes they just want to eat like chicken nuggets or French fries or crunchy food or like spicy food, but they don't want to eat like rice or curry or vegetables. Or sometimes they eat some food and sometimes they just eat a lot. They eat too much, or sometimes they don't eat at all. So a lot of our kids are picky eaters, or they have some fixation. So when they want to play some videos over and over again. So like, for example, they watch ABC, but they want to watch it 24 hours a day. And if you stop them, they will cry. So those are some of the early signs of autism for kids 12 months to 24 months. So Yeah.
Well, I want to bring this up. My kids, including my kids, they all they eat is chicken, right?
Chicken nuggets.
So some parents might be questioning. Wait a minute, is my kids autistic?
Of course, there's all of the symptoms, right? So it's not just
not
one.
It's just not
if
one.
It's all
right.
all symptoms, if you see all the symptoms, then but of course, if you see like only eating chicken nuggets, then of course it's not.
That's a
just
behavioral
one.
problem.
Yeah.
And that's more like a parenting problem. Okay, but we'll touch on that too, because this is also important, because you mentioned something that most of the kids nowadays, they're hooked with the devices.
Yes.
Unfortunately. I see kids who are really young, 3, 4, 5 years old, playing Roblox hours after hours, right? But taking it away, they behave as if they're going through withdrawal syndrome.
Yeah.
Right, and that's not normal.
So there also already have a guidelines from Centers of Disease and Control that kids under 2 years old should be controlled with the device. Kids under 2 years old shouldn't have their own device. So that's
under 2 years old.
Under 2 years old, they
should not have own device.
Yeah, they shouldn't have.
I would tell you, this is a different topic. We probably will tackle it at a different time, because I have horror stories.
Yes.
Well, kids 16, 17, 18, you know how they become big, they become men, right? They beat their parents if they are not getting their PS5 or they are not getting food while they're playing. Different story, but we're going to come back on a different day. We'll tackle that. But excuse me, let me come back to a fundamental question. And the fundamental question would be, what exactly is autism? Is it let's call it what it is, but let's see, is it a disease or is it a neuro underdevelopment or development, right? Or is it a neurodevelopment difference, right? In other words, what are the actual causes for autism? So what is autism? What are the things that causes autism? And most people, think genetics have something to do with this. So do genetics, excuse me, or environmental factors play a greater role?
Yes. Yeah. So autism spectrum disorder is a neurodevelopmental disorder that has we can see the deficits in communication skills and restricted repetitive patterns of behavior. So when kids have social communication skills, so sometimes they can say ABC, they can name the colors, they can name the shape, but they cannot say like, Mama, I'm hungry. Baba, help me.
Right.
So those words they cannot say, but they can say color. So we want to say the social communication, that if they are hungry, they can tell the parents they are hungry. If they are tired, they can tell the parents they are tired. So we want the words to be functional, that they can use it to survive, And they have problems with nonverbal communication. So sometimes they don't know like what is appropriate touch and what is not appropriate touch if they're teenagers. So like sometimes they don't know how to play with kids. They want to play with kids, but they don't know how. So, and developing and maintaining relationships. So they don't know like the advanced communication skills. Like if you are going in the supermarket, like you have to wait in the line. You cannot just go and eat your food. If you want to buy the food, you have to wait in the line, pay the cashier, and eat your food. So those are the skills that we teach. So, and also the repetitive behavior. So like stereotypical movements, or like you can see some hand flapping, insistence on sameness. So like if they go to school by school bus every morning, they need to be in school bus by 7 o'clock. But if, for example, the school bus did not arrive on the same time, or they have a different driver, they get upset of their changes in the routine. So they get upset why the school bus did not come, or like why this change, why they want to wear the same jacket over and over, even if it's like summertime, they want to wear the same jacket. So those are kinds of behavior that's not normal and we should be aware of. And highly restricted interest, like aside from the mobile phone or the tablet, they have same interest, like maybe touching and turning on and off the lights. Maybe like staying, like they want the AC to be on and they want to be sitting down beside the AC all the time. So there are some, each kid is different, but there are some patterns of behavior that we see. And sensory, like abnormalities when, for example, they're sensitive to the sound of the pressure cooker, or the sound of the vacuum cleaner, or the sound of the fire alarm. So they get upset if there's like too much sound or less sound. So each kid, because it's a spectrum, so one kid is different from another kid. So not all kids with autism are the same. So if we see one kid with autism, the symptoms is different for other kid with autism because it's a spectrum. So some kids have higher skills, some kids have like lower skills, you know.
Okay, so it's not the same for everybody, but there are patterns of behavior
yes,
that we should take notice as parents or teachers to identify that he or she may or may not have issues. And if the pattern persists, then something we need to take notice.
And
right? Okay, so, but generally speaking, these are the patterns tells you something may or may not be right. Overly doing something. Out of, just you mentioned, it seems like a normal behavior, like the jacket you're wearing. You're wearing 12 months in a row.
Yes.
But you don't want to change.
Yes.
Whether it's winter or
Dirty,
cold, winter or summer, doesn't matter. I want this one, it doesn't matter, right? So this is an issue, that's right. But if you were to summarize what is autism, what would be, as a professional, as a, you know, in this line, as a, in a doctor definition way, right?
Yeah.
How would you define that?
So it's just a different way of learning. Like some people learn differently.
Right.
Some people learn like with multisensory approach. So there are different types of how people learn.
Yeah.
So this is just way like, because we cannot teach them the same way, like maybe your neurotypical kids
Right.
learn like traditional education, they're okay.
Yeah.
But for our kids with autism or other developmental disabilities, they need to be hands-on. They need to be, every little thing you have to teach them one at a time. Because if you say like, okay, you teach them toothbrushing for your neurotypical 4 years old, they get it. Okay, or toilet training or potty training, they get it right away. But for our kids who has a disability, neurodevelopmental disability or other learning disabilities, it may take some time. We need pictures, you need to hold their hands. So the learning is different. So that there's just a different way of learning, you know. So there's nothing wrong with them. It's just like they have to teach them differently because they learn differently.
Yeah. So I had a different question, but I'm not gonna go because it's gonna change subject. But I think something related to it that we can talk about this on a different day, learning disability.
Yes.
You know, it's interrelated, but not exactly the same. But you led me to a question I was thinking about it, which is many people believe that autism and intellectual disabilities are the same. So that's something you are going to break it down in a simple form so we all can understand that, you know, autism and intellectual disability are same or not same and why. Okay. How accurate is that perception? Because this is a general ideas, right? And what is your perspective? Let's go with this.
Yeah. So since we say like autism is a spectrum, right? So some of them are very smart. Some of them are almost like genius level of IQ. And some of them are really low IQ. So when we talk about IQ, that comes with the intellectual disability. So intellectual disability, if your IQ is lower than below average IQ, so the average IQ, let's say your score is 80 to 100, but intellectual disability, your IQ is below 80, so lower IQ score. So the testing you need is an IQ test. for autism, we also test for intellectual disability because about 40% of kids with autism also have intellectual disabilities.
Yeah.
But not all kids with autism have intellectual disabilities.
I was just going to say, because it sounds too broad.
Yes.
Because there are people who may struggle to learn a thing or two, but really don't have autism. It is just their inability to learn, or maybe they are slower than others in terms of learning. Please go on.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they have autism.
Yeah.
So it's a separate.
That's a big distinction.
Yeah, it's a separate disability, but it's just that since autism has a lot of comorbidities,
Right.
so it's a spectrum of disability, spectrum of different things. They might have ADHD, they don't have ADHD. They might have picky eater, or they might have problem with their gut issue. They might have problem with sleeping. So many things. So autism is not just autism. There's so many things around
you
autism.
just brought in a good point. You mentioned ADHD, right?
Yeah.
And then ADHD or
ADHD, yeah.
And autism are the same, or that one is the bigger than the other one?
No,
that falls into that role.
They are different disability, but some kids with autism also have ADHD. So ADHD is attention hyperactive.
Basically, attention disorder.
The attention disorder. There are some kids who are hyperactive, and some kids who are not hyperactive,
not at all.
But they zone out. Like if they are sitting in the classroom, you say like, oh, this kid is behaving, but his mind is outside
somewhere
already.
Else.
Like maybe in the video game or whatever, but they're sitting down perfectly.
That's just attention disorder.
Yeah, that's
and there are different levels of it.
Yes.
But sometimes people mix them up.
Yes,
but they're not same.
For kids with autism, they have a lot of comorbidities. So sometimes parents are struggling, like they have multiple diagnoses.
Correct.
So autism with ADHD, with intellectual disabilities. Yeah, so those are the parents that needs a lot of support.
I'm going to come to the parents part of it because I think the parents' role in this discussion is very important.
Yes.
And this is something I want to touch on it in a greater fashion. But let me ask you another question, and you mentioned it a few minutes ago, actually, about the speaking and the ability to speak, and then all of a sudden stop. So suppose you have a child. A child was previously able to speak just fine, right? But later loses the ability of speaking or fluently speaking, right? To a certain level, or a certain degree. How concerning is this for a parent, or what should parents do in such situation?
Yes. Yeah. So at age of 2 years old, kids should have at least 50 words. So these 50 words, they should be able to combine the words. So if they say, Mama, help, or Baba, give me water, or give me milk, or I'm tired. So they should be able to combine 2 words together. So, and if they don't have that, that's already a red flag, and they should talk to their pediatrician or call 311 for early intervention assessment. So it's free in all New York City, New York State, it's free. They just have to call 311 for an assessment. It's free. So the therapist will come, the psychologist will come to the house, and they'll do the assessment. So they will check if your child qualifies for speech therapy, occupational therapy, special education teacher, or ABA. So as early as 2 years old, you can get help. And it's free for all families in New York State. So parents don't have to be worried about the cost, or if they think like, oh, I don't have the insurance, someone will help you to get your insurance and help the family. Especially for early intervention, it's no cost to the family. It's free. Just call 311, or you can call go to your pediatrician and tell them that this is what I observed. And also, you can download the app, CDC Milestone app. So there you can download and see if your child is meeting their developmental milestone or not. And if not, then you can call the 311 or go to your pediatrician.
Absolutely. For everybody else, I just want to tell you that we are having a very good discussion, and this discussion really concerning your child or a child that who may or may not may need help that we may not be paying attention to. So far, we just talked about what is autism, how is it different from this or that, and how to identify them, and what are the symptoms and all these things. But we have not talked about what's the parent's role. What are the causes of autism? Is it biological disorder? What can you do? Where can you get some help without spending a single dollar? We're going to come all to this, but Cherry, it's time for us to take a break.
Okay.
After the break, we have this very important discussion. Please don't go nowhere. We're coming back soon. Welcome back to The Views. I'm Habib Rahman with you, and I have 𝗓𝗓𝗏 𝗪𝗓 with me. She's talking about autism. We are talking about autism. She's an expert, and she's giving us breakdown of everything. Before going to the break, we talked about what it is, how it is, what are the identifications that you can actually say this is a autistic child or not, or this is ADHD and what not. But now we're going to deeper water, right? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. So let's start with the parents. I think a parent's role in child's life is the most important part, especially mom's life, right? So what advice would you give to parents, not a parent, but parents who have recently learned that their child is on the autism spectrum?
Yes, so I know that this is an overwhelming information you will get, because once you get the diagnosis, they'll give you like paperwork, 30 pages, 50 pages of all this information. So it's overwhelming for parents. Like, what do I do? Where do I start? So, but first, we just want to let you know that you're not alone in this journey, and autism is not the end or a death sentence to your family. There's a lot of help that we can get, and there's a community of people that is willing to take care or help you in this journey, and this lifelong journey of autism with your family. So it not all autism, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, So yesterday I had a supervision with a family in the Bronx, and she was saying like, autism, this is a blessing. This is a blessing from God. So like, I was admiring her perspective, because she had like positive perspective about autism, because a lot of families, they said like, oh, this is a curse. Oh, this is why God gave me this curse. No, I was telling like, no, this is not a curse. Like, this is our test. But this mom, yesterday I was talking to her, and she said like, no, my child is a blessing.
Yeah.
This is a blessing. So like, her perspective, so we have different, but we cannot expect everybody to be positive, It takes time.
We can understand the difficulties, but what you're saying, the context you take in, if this is a positive context, it only helps.
Yes, because now she was saying like, oh, I don't speak English very well. Forgive my English. And like, no, mom, you're doing okay. But she was able to get help. Like, she had a neighbor who helped her. I said, how did you get our information? Oh, my neighbor, she gave me your information. So we called. I said, like, that's good. So like, there are people.
Right.
So our responsibility, not just for parents, but as a neighbor, as a part of a community. Like,
so basically what you're saying, parents' role being positive, knowing that they have a difficult time ahead, may or may not, because some kids come out of it with the proper help and proper, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah, there's a lot of positive changes will happen, but this takes time.
Yeah.
They can get a job, they can go to school, they can go to college, but it takes time.
It takes time.
The earlier we get them help, the easier it is when they go
to summarize your words, what you're saying is, we knowing this, that my child needs help. I would simplify it. My child could be autistic, could be anything else, but needs help. But when you accept that and you say, you know what, I want to help my child. I want to be positive because I see there's a light at the end of the tunnel. If I take proper steps.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
So being positive, moving towards the proper direction, get specialized help. New York State is giving a lot of help.
Yes. So you can get help from school, from the community. So as early as 2 years old, you can get early intervention. For 3 to 5 years old, there's preschool special education. From school age, from kindergarten to high school, your school, special education school, you can get OT, PT, speech. These are free services. And you get, after school, based on your insurance, you can get ABA.
Right.
And there's also OT-PT speech available at home and home care. So there's so many services out there, but it takes time. You have to call, you have to follow up, you have to show up for the appointment. This is a lot of work for family, but the help is there. A lot of help that you can get.
Yeah. You know, that just reminds me, I want to remind all the people who are watching it from Long Island, there's a problem going on between Fidelis, Northwell, and the New York State. They are having a dispute. So right now, anybody with the Fidelis and Northwell, right, they're out of coverage. Until this is, I'm hoping it will be resolved in a day or two, but right now, it's okay if you're not going through a surgery. But if you're going through a surgery right now at this moment, you're out of coverage. I mean, this is disaster, to be honest with you. I'm sure New York State will come up with something. But let me ask you a different question. And I think I heard this many questions. You heard it probably thousands of times. When we try to pinpoint the issues and what causes the autism, you know, do factors such as parental age.
Yes.
Some people have kids at the late age, right? Very late age. So my question to you, do factors such as parental age, pregnancy-related complications, birth complications, increase a child's risk of autism? That's a lump sum question. Then, what does the evidence suggest?
So the evidence suggests it's a combination of all the factors. So it's the factors like hereditary. So if one child has autism, most likely one of the child has autism. So also for twins. So for twins, we see a lot of twins both have autism. So the factors of the genes, so there are some, they said like there's a gene that's responsible for autism. So it's not just only after they were born, but when during the conception itself, there's already like a missing DNA. So they see like this, but these are still studies, you know. There's no definite one cause of autism. It's a combination of all things. So like that just is a risk factor. So so the genes, if they already have other syndromes like Rett's disorder or other disabilities. So like these are like genes. The problem was in the genes.
Mutated genes.
And also like for the risk factors for giving birth, like older parents or parents have complications when they were pregnant, or they have like a diabetes during pregnant, or sometimes they have preeclampsia. So when mom was giving birth, there was like a loss of oxygen also, like, so those are like, so for example, they need to do like emergency C-section, and there was like loss of oxygen in the baby's brain. So like
it could be
seconds of losing that like oxygen for
the supply of oxygen in the brain.
The supply of oxygen in the baby's brain. And also like when mom had diabetes and high blood pressure when she was giving birth, like high blood pressure, so then that's one of the factors of you know, like, and the health of the mom, like if they have other health complications, so that's also a factor. So there's so many, we cannot just pinpoint like only this one happens, but there's a lot of complications, you know, that happens. And also we just want to clarify that vaccines does not cause autism, and bad parenting doesn't cause autism, because these are
that sounds funny, but it's not.
These are myths.
These are myths.
These are not true. So the doctor who published that the vaccine causes autism, they already canceled, and he's not practicing anymore. He loses his license. So, because it's not true. So vaccine does not cause autism. So
those are just I mean there will always be conspiracy theory, but I just wanted to know these are the what I was trying to understand, cause and effect.
Yes.
But there's no one causation
Yes.
that you can
There's
attach
no
to
one,
the effect. It could be a variety of multiple factors, right? So it's good to know. But those factors do make difference. If you are older parent, if you are having a complication during pregnancy or during childbirth,
Yes.
if you are having a high diabetes during the pregnancy or throughout that period, right? You are giving a labored birth when your oxygen is not reaching to the child's brain. Or are missing for a few seconds, maybe a second or two.
Yeah.
All these things can cause this issue. But we can definitely say,
Yes.
as per science,
Because-
that this is it.
Yeah, because maybe there are some families who had, they have issues also during
The
birth,
hereditary
but
issues,
they don't have autism, right?
The childs don't have
It's
it.
just the risk.
Yeah, it's just
it
a risk.
increases the risk.
I mean, it's not definite, but the probability, we
Yes.
can say probability is higher.
will
Yeah,
high.
the probability is higher. Okay, many parents believe, and you just touched on it briefly in the beginning when you were talking about speaking part of it. So many parents believe that boys naturally begin speaking later than girls. At what point can this assumption become a risky or delayed necessary intervention?
Yes. So, according to the research, boys are more likely to get diagnosed with autism than girls.
Okay.
So we cannot just say like, oh, let's just wait and see, So when you wait and see, are you going to risk the chance of your child does not speak? So maybe if you see like, okay, there's a delay, but you can get the services, but maybe it's only speech delay, and it's good. If only speech delay, then it's good. Then maybe you just need a speech therapy for 1 year, 2 years, then your child will be okay.
You're good.
So why do we have to risk that the child will suffer for more when there's free services, So I know like...
So what would you suggest to those parents?
Seek help immediately.
And where do you go? I know we're going to talk about this a little bit later. You also briefly touched on that New York State, there is so many options, right? Well, I'm going to come back to you because at the end of the day, we all need help.
Yes.
And we need to get to qualified people, people who have expertise. And also, I have to make sure when I'm going there, it doesn't put me on the street.
Yes.
The out-of-pocket expenses.
Course, yeah.
But let me ask you a different question related to what I just asked you a few minutes ago. So you were saying the parents, when they notice that speech delay happens, go seek help as soon as possible.
Yes.
Yes, it's true. The boys speak later than the girls, but there is a time frame. Once you hit that lag.
Yeah. So the time frame, like 2 years old, we say like kids needs to have 50 words.
Right.
But by 3 years old, they need 300
words.
to 1,000 words. If you're waiting for like, 3 years old, my child may be delayed. 4 years old, they
on the
need
same
to
token,
have
on the same
5,000 words.
Right. On
So
the same token, you
you're
just said
late
something very important in
already.
the beginning of the program.
Yeah.
If instead of not saying, he can say a whole lot of things repeatedly and repeatedly.
Oh, yeah,
That's also a sign.
Yeah, so
and you
some
should seek help.
equal,
You just said it in the beginning when we started the program. But let me ask you, I have a very important question. This is very important. When parents first notice signs of autism, because at one point, parents, I'm going to come to a different question a little later, but when they notice the sign of autism, whom should they consult first? A pediatrician, a developmental pediatrician, or an ABA provider such as you? Or what would you recommend?
Okay. So first, they can go to their pediatrician. The pediatrician will give them the referral to a developmental pediatrician. So the developmental pediatrician, they are the one who does the diagnosis and as a clinical psychologist as well. So but first, go to your pediatrician. So, and then tell them your concern. So like your concern, like you have to say it specifically, like I want to test my child for autism because I'm worried that I see the symptoms. So you have to make sure like you say it specifically, because sometimes the pediatrician, I have some families, they will say like, the pediatrician said wait, or the pediatrician. So if they're ignoring your concern, go to the 311 and get the help.
Right.
Or look for the developmental pediatrician. If your pediatrician ignores your concern. But first, go to your pediatrician because they're the immediate one who have the record of your child's progress.
All right. In the beginning, when I was introducing you, I just mentioned that you are 𝗟𝗓𝗪, the clinical director and CEO
Yes.
of Asend ABA. So let's start, it's like we're going back to full circle, right?
Okay.
What is ABA? What is Applied Behavioral Analysis Therapy? And how does it work? Some people claim that ABA makes children act like robots. How accurate is this criticism?
Yeah, so that's a myth.
A lot on your shoulder.
Yeah, that's a myth. That's the myth that we want to break. So ABA is applied behavior analysis. So we take the behaviorism, the study of learning and behavior, human behavior, into how can we apply it for kids with developmental disability. So this is not only for kids with autism, so that's another myth. This is all for all individuals. So for kids with autism, ADHD, learning disability, but also for adults, for regular people. We use it for business, but the one that the ABA that we're talking about right now is the one that we use for kids with autism and other learning disabilities.
Right.
It becomes popular because we have the autism insurance law. So they approved because in 1999 there was a history like the U.S. Surgeon General recommended that ABA is an evidence-based science
Right.
that can effectively used for kids with autism to
Correct.
reduce the symptoms of autism. We're not curing autism, but we're reducing the symptoms of autism. And also, it has like 50 years of research behind it. So it's also approved by Association APA, American Psychological Association, and the American Surgeon General.
Okay.
And we're not making kids robot. So that's the old thing that they think about ABA. So now our focus is how can we make ABA fun for kids?
Right.
The importance of kids are happy, relaxed, and engaged.
Right.
So the parents are saying, oh, you're just playing, but we want these kids to be happy. We cannot make them to be sitting and doing puzzles all day. They need to, we need to go out to the park. We need to play maybe on the floor, on the backyard, in the playground, in the library. So we want to have the skills for them to be independent in life. And
All right.
But of course, they need to be happy as well.
Yeah. In modern ABA, or modern ABA therapy, we don't have much time, by the way, so we'll try to keep it short. In modern ABA, how important are positive reinforcement and play-based learning, please?
Yes. So we focus on positive reinforcement, but because they say like, oh, ABA, they have punishment, they have this. But our focus is on positive reinforcement. We do not hit our kids. We do not give punishment there's no time out corner. So we try as much as we can. We do not restrain. Even the kids are engaging in problem behavior or challenging behavior, we do not restrain. What does restrain mean? We don't hold the kids.
Forcefully hold them against their will.
Forcefully hold them. So we want to create an environment where kids are happy. So that's the first thing we want to ask. We want, what is the child's favorite toy? So that's why we want to use a child-centered type of ABA therapy.
Got it. 30 seconds.
Okay.
Is ABA therapy only beneficial for a young or non-verbal child, or can it also be effective for older children, adolescent, and even adults? 30 seconds.
Yes, so ABA can be effective also, but it's harder for kids to teach 14 years old than a 2 years old. So we have kids who are 14 years old. We first got the client, but now they are potty training. Now they are learning to use their AAC device. They can still be effective. In New York State, the ABA is covered up to 21 years old. So until 21 years old, you're covered with ABA.
Quick questions. How many hours ABA therapy per per week does a child typically need? And how do you determine it? Very quickly.
So it's about 10 to 40 hours, but it depends on the need of the kid. So we have to do the assessment first.
We're leaving a lot on table. We're going to have to follow up because we're running out of time. But if you were to leave any message for the Bangladeshi community who are watching today, right? Parents, especially living with across the United States, it could be anywhere, right? What would be that message?
Yeah. So parents worries a lot what other people will say. There's a saying in Bangla and in Hindi, like, what will people say?
So what will people say?
What is the Bangla word for that?
Manush ki bolbe.
Yeah. So like what they always worry, like they don't want to get help because what will people say? But we have to forget that for now, because we have to worry about your child. Like who's gonna
worry
take
about
care,
the child.
Who's gonna take care of your child when they're 20 years old, 50 years old?
That's correct.
What will happen?
What will happen when you are not in this world?
Yes. So who do you think will take care of your child? So that is the question that worries a lot of families. So we are here to help. So we have to teach them young. Even if they cannot go to college, they can cook their own food.
Right.
They can take the bus.
Right.
They can learn basic skills that make them to survive in this world, right?
Correct. I would request our producer to show us the last slide, because that's where people can go and get some help. আমরা যদি লাস্ট স্লাইডটা দেখতে পারি, এবং সবার উদ্দেশ্যে আমি বলবো লাস্ট স্লাইডটা কি আমরা একটু দেখতে পারি? থ্যাংক ইউ। সবার উদ্দেশ্যে বলবো যে সার্ভিস প্রয়োজন হলে আপনি এখানে যোগাযোগ করতে পারেন। আরো জায়গা আছে, কিন্তু দিস ইজ ওয়ান অফ দ্য বেস্ট প্লেসেস। দিস ইজ হোয়াট চ্যারি and Chishti is with me that we are talking about. আর লোকে কি বলে এটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট না, আপনার বাচ্চার হেল্প দরকার, she or he needs help, and this is what we do at TBN. Knowledge is power. When the knowledge is on your side, you are powerful. Our job is to bring the knowledge to you. দেখা হবে পরবর্তী অনুষ্ঠানে। শুভরাত্রি।
Thank you.
TBN 24 টেলিভিশন দেখতে আজই কল করুন 7187776556। লগ ইন করুন www.totalcabelbd.com।
নিউ ইয়র্ক থেকে সম্প্রচারিত TBN 24 টেলিভিশন বিশ্বজুড়ে বাঙালির কণ্ঠস্বর।